Okay, let's just be honest with each other for a minute. For years, we've all been sold a complete lie about work. You know the one, the lie that being busy is the same as being productive, that working long hours is some kind of badge of honor. But what if I told you there's a proven way to get twice the work done in half the time? And no, this isn't some cheap productivity hack. It's a total revolution in how we approach work, and it's called Scrum.
So let's start with a really tough question, and I want you to think about this personally. Take a look at your calendar, your endless to-do list, all those late nights you've spent at the office. Are you truly being productive? Are you just caught up in a storm of activity? Are you just busy? Busy covering up inefficiency with back-to-back meetings and huge documents that, let's face it, nobody ever reads again.
For decades, we've been taught that having the perfect, detailed, long-term plan is the absolute key to success. But, as General Eisenhower famously said, the moment the first shot is fired in a battle, that beautiful, perfect plan goes right out the window. And in today's world, the first shot gets fired every single day. The world just moves way too fast for a rigid, year-long strategy to mean anything.
And that brings us to this thing, the Gantt chart. Ah, yes, every manager's favorite security blanket. It's this beautiful, color-coded fantasy that lays out every single step of a project in perfect, predictable detail. There's just one tiny problem. It's always wrong. And here's a fun fact for you. The Gantt chart was literally invented to organize World War I. We gave up on trench warfare 100 years ago, so why are we still clinging to the management style that organized it?
You think I'm exaggerating? Okay, well, let's look at a really high-stakes example, where this old way of thinking didn't just fail, it failed catastrophically. Let's talk about the FBI.
So this old system is called the waterfall method, and as you can kind of see from the picture, it's a recipe for disaster. Basically, you have to finish one entire phase, like gathering all the requirements for a project, before you're even allowed to start the next phase. It's rigid, it's sequential, and in a world that changes by the minute, it's a one-way ticket to building something that nobody actually needs by the time you're finally done.
Okay, so picture this. After 9/11, the FBI realized its ancient paper-based system, where agents were literally using red pens to circle keywords on paper forms, was a huge reason they failed to connect the dots. So their solution was this massive software overhaul called the Sentinel Project. And, you guessed it, they used the old waterfall method to plan the whole thing.
And the result? Well, after 10 years, and after spending over $400 million, that's 90% of the total budget, the original contractor had delivered, well, nothing. Not a single usable thing. The project was a complete and utter failure.
Now, here is the most crucial point of this whole story. The FBI agents and the people building the software weren't stupid or lazy. They were smart, dedicated people who were trapped inside a system that was fundamentally designed to fail. The enemy wasn't the people, it was the process itself.
So if that old way is so obviously broken, what's the solution?
Well, it boils down to a simple but incredibly profound philosophy: inspect and adapt. And you do it constantly.
The core idea behind Scrum actually comes from a pretty wild place, the cockpit of a fighter jet. It's called the OODA loop, and it was developed by a pilot named John Boyd. It stands for Observe, Orient, Decide, and Act. In a dogfight, or, in business, the person who can cycle through this loop the fastest wins. Period.
In Scrum, this rapid cycle is called a sprint. It's a short, super focused period of time, usually between 1 and 4 weeks, where a team commits to building a small but usable and finished piece of the product. And here's the key. During that sprint, no one is allowed to change the goal. It creates this unbreakable rhythm of focus and delivery.
The goal of every single sprint is to produce something real, what we call a minimum viable product, or an MVP. The idea is to get something into the hands of actual users as fast as humanly possible, because their honest feedback on a working prototype is infinitely more valuable than their signature on a 200-page document for a product they won't even see for another year.
And this chart illustrates perfectly why that works so well. In almost any project you can think of, about 20% of the features deliver 80% of the actual value. Scrum forces you to identify and build that high-value 20% right at the beginning. And that means you can deliver something massively valuable to your customers in a tiny fraction of the time.
All right, so how do you actually do this stuff? Let's get practical. Here are the weapons you can start using tomorrow morning to work smarter, not harder.
Okay, let's just be blunt. The modern workplace absolutely worships multitasking.
But the science is crystal clear. You can't actually do it. What you're really doing is something called context switching, and it's making you less effective at absolutely everything.
I mean, just look at this data. This isn't an opinion. If you try to juggle 5 projects at once, you lose a staggering 75% of your time just to the mental friction of switching between them. Let that sink in. 3/4 of your day is just gone, wasted, flushed right down the toilet for no reason.
The antidote to all this chaos is something radically simple. It's called the Daily Stand-Up. It's a 15-minute meeting every single day at the exact same time. Everyone stands up to keep it short, and you only answer 3 questions. This isn't some status report for a manager. It's a synchronization and commitment ceremony for the team by the team.
So, we've talked about speed, efficiency, and focus. But what's the real endgame here? What is all of this actually for? The answer might surprise you. It's not just about shipping products faster, it's about happiness.
Take a look at the Maxwell curve. This thing completely debunks the whole myth of overtime. The absolute peak of your productivity, your ability to get high-quality work done, is actually just under 40 hours a week. After that, you're not a hero, you're just making more mistakes that someone else is going to have to fix later. Working late isn't a sign of commitment, it's a sign of failure.
So Scrum proposes something that sounds pretty radical. You should actually measure happiness. At the end of each sprint, you ask the team simple questions like these. And look, this isn't about singing campfire songs. It's about treating happiness as a critical KPI. Why? Because it's a leading indicator for success. Unhappy people simply do not do great work.
And here it is. This is the most radical, most important idea in this entire book. We've all been told our whole lives that if we're successful, then we'll be happy. Sutherland's data shows the exact opposite is true. Happy teams, teams that feel a sense of purpose, autonomy, and mastery, they're the ones who achieve incredible results. Happiness is the cause of success, not the result.
So what does this all lead to? It leads to this. This is the final philosophical ultimatum that Jeff Sutherland once gave to a room full of engineers at Bell South who were resisting all of these new ideas. He stood up and told them, change or die. Well, they didn't listen. And a few years later, Bell South ceased to exist.
That ultimatum isn't just for some big company. It's for all of us. The old way of working is turning us into zombies, just shuffling through endless meetings, buried under useless plans, always busy but never actually productive. So the question is, are you going to keep shuffling along, or are you going to choose to work with purpose, with speed, and with joy? The choice is yours.